Welcome to the Fans of Fitness podcast, a voice for fitness, health, and wellness professionals. The National Personal Training Institute of Arizona.
Legit instructors teaching you.
No, enough of those bad reps. The good quality trainers that come out of the school.
Let's get into it.
Rena.
Hi.
Owner of Studio Scottsdale Fitness.
Yes.
Welcome to the Fans of Fitness podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So we connected not too long ago because as a school, you know, we have the studios and gyms contacting us for personal trainers, and you just happened to reach out a couple of weeks ago, and so far you've had a few responses.
Yeah, I'm excited to connect with your students. It's been a good experience so far.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we're proud to be able to do for our graduates is hook them up with the right people. Mm-hmm. And I understand that with your studio, you do quite a few things, right?
Yeah, so we have mostly group classes, mostly yoga, dance, fitness, some strength classes, but I also rent out the studio too as a space. So anybody that has need for a studio space for either personal client training clients or just rehearsal for themselves, they can rent out by the hour or by the month.
So by the hour too.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, usually with studios that rent out space, it's usually like a monthly commitment, X amount of money to run for a month. But I think that's smart to do hourly because not everybody has a full slate of clients. Maybe they just have a couple a week. Yeah, and they don't have to pay some crazy price for the month because a lot of studios you've got. It's either if you're full time, you work in the morning and the afternoon, it's going to be X amount, and if you just do one or the other, then it's X amount. So I think that's really smart that you allow some trainers to come in, their independents, to just utilize just the time that they need.
Yeah, exactly. You can rent out as many hours as you need too. So
yeah, nice. Is there like a way for coaches to like schedule those hours? Is there like a max amount of people that you want to have in there coaching at one time?
So it's just a single room. So I do one booking per hour, but once you book, you can even run your own class in there if you're doing like a group type of setting. You can run a class there. You can do one-on-one. You can do just yourself. So on my website, you can just go on there, pick I have single session or group sessions, and you can pick a time slot. And then if it's available, it's available. You can book it by the hour. You can book an hour. You can book 2 hours, an hour and a half, 3 hours, as long as it's available.
That is smart. Yeah. I think that's one way to maximize your time, and the space that you have is allowing people just to pick those time slots as they need.
And I know with having clients, sometimes they're like, oh, I'm available Monday this week, but next week it's Tuesday in the evening, or I know a lot of things change. So having flexible times available for studio space is hard to find. So I like to provide that for the community.
That's great. How did this all get started for you?
So I myself worked in the fitness industry for the last 4 years now, just being like admin for other studios, other dance fitness studios, a yoga studio. I've sold memberships. I've done operations. I've marketed. So I kind of threw myself into the industry, learning everything I can before I opened the studio. The dream of having the studio just was really recent of mine. It wasn't something that I got into the industry thinking like eventually I'm going to open my own studio. It just kind of fell into place. So a couple of the studios that I worked at either closed or got new owners, and you know how that is. The community kind of changes when you get a new owner and the vibe changes. And I thought at that time, once both of the studios I was working with at the time kind of had some change, that I thought, okay, I think it's time to go my own path. And that's how the studio started.
Yeah. You get to create your own community and culture.
Exactly.
Instead of having that change as new ownership comes in, or in some cases new coaches come in. They can change.
And change isn't always bad. Like sometimes change is good, where a new owner comes in and kind of whips everything into shape and you're like, oh, this is more efficient and much better. And then sometimes it's not. Yeah,
I've been in a few studios that either started off kind of, not with a great culture or community, and then somebody new comes in and now the culture community is great.
Exactly.
The culture's king.
Yeah.
I mean, as a studio owner,
to me.
As a studio owner or an independent, I was talking about this yesterday in class, that the culture is king. community is incredibly important, because as an independent coach or even a studio owner, you kind of you create this community that feeds off of each other. They start to keep each other accountable, and you can start doing activities with each other, and the tribe just grows.
And it's just fun.
It's incredibly fun. Yeah,
more fun. You have you have a sense of loyalty to each other. Just like an example of that is during the pandemic, when if you didn't have culture, no one would follow you to take your Zoom classes or go to the park with you and have your outdoor classes if you didn't have that community. So it's really important for your business as well.
Yeah. As a coach, when I was doing one-on-one coaching, I didn't realize the community that was going to grow. And it became, well, first of all, this industry is probably, I can't think of another industry that is rewarding as this one.
Mm-hmm.
And as I found out when I went independent, I'm like, this is incredibly rewarding. I'm not just helping people, but I'm connecting people.
Yes, exactly.
These friendships are growing. And then, all of a sudden we're all doing Spartan races together. We're going out to vineyards and having some wine, playing bocce ball and doing all kinds of fun hikes and stuff like that. It was just like again, community. If you're a good coach and, you do right by your people, then it's just going to grow. They're going to tell other people. So word of mouth starts to occur when you're a good coach. So
exactly.
It's pretty amazing to watch happen.
Yeah.
And that can be the same thing can be said with online training too. You can still create communities even though you don't live anywhere close to each other. You're still like with Zoom. I like to get my clients on a Zoom, once a week. Whoever wants to come on, pop on. Here's a Zoom link. Talk to each other. So how's the weather in Sioux City?
When else can you talk to somebody that's in a totally different state, country, and meet a new friend without leaving your home or wherever you're at? It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's great. So the studio's been going for how long now?
About 15 months. So we opened last year in January. So we had our 1-year anniversary. We're still going, which is really great.
That's good.
So it's really, it's really hard to any business to keep it up over a year. So we've hit that threshold. So it's on to the next goal.
Yeah, which is?
So my next goal for the studio, still building that community, and get more classes. So more people coming in equals more classes I can offer, just growing that community and hopefully maybe getting another location or a bigger space. Because right now the studio that I have, it's pretty intimate. So that's the next goal for me. Yeah,
that sounds like a good goal. I mean, I think a lot of people that want to have a studio, oftentimes they go too large too quick.
Yeah.
I think the people that I've met that did it smartly, they started with a small studio. And as they outgrew that, they got a bigger studio. As they outgrew that, they got a bigger studio.
That's the way to go.
So, I mean, there's a lot of overhead as an independent studio owner. And I don't think people realize how much goes into that, what it takes to have a space. And obviously demographics and placement has everything to do with how much it's going to be. It's not just paying rent. There's so much more overhead to that. And one of the things that I know that you specialize in is marketing. So how important has that been for your growth, the studio?
Oh, so important, because when I left those other communities, I had it in my head that I was going to start from scratch. I'm not going to market my yoga classes to that yoga community. They already go someplace. Or my dance classes to the other dance studio because they're already going someplace. I wanted to start fresh. I wanted to get hyper local students or people going to the studio. So I had moved to a new community that I wasn't familiar with. And so I basically was starting from scratch. So marketing is pretty much the bread and butter of how I started the studio, getting people into the door and essentially keeping them. So it's a huge part of starting your business. You have to market.
How did you? What ways did you market?
So the thing about me is because I'm involved in the community. A lot of word of mouth is a lot of what I did. Grassroots marketing, so really like boots on the ground, going out there and like actually telling people, hey, I opened my own studio, come check it out. Social media is a lot of what I do now, how I market the studio now, but there's just like so many avenues that I've done and that anybody can do. My website gets a lot of traffic. I have a lot of people that find me from my website. I partner with third-party booking apps like ClassPass, GymPass.
Okay.
So I get a lot of people from there. I was on, Mind Body before. It's just a lot of collaborating done to get the word out there. And I'm still going through it. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I live across the street and I didn't know you were here. So I have a lot of work to do still.
Yeah.
But it's just a constant, you got to stay consistent. That's a big key. And just continue throwing your name out there.
What do you think has worked best for you when it comes to marketing?
I think, honestly, what works the best, and this is going to be a big thing for anybody starting out from scratch, from new, especially personal trainers or group trainers, is get out in the community. Take other people's classes. Wherever other people are going, you want to be there and making friends and refer them back to where you're at or your service. So if you're a personal trainer, you want to go to maybe like other group fitness classes. Be like, hey, if you want one-on-one training, I actually do personal training. Here's my information. Anywhere you can put your name out there, where you can make friends, that's where you can be personable and they can see your personality and you can click with them. That's where you want to go and start first. Social media is really big. It takes a lot of time and you have to be really consistent. So it's like you have to spend time every day to put your name out there, make friends. I have a thing I call Instagram fishing. So going on, maybe businesses around you, like a coffee shop down the street, see who's checked in there, start Instagramming them, like liking their pictures, liking their posts, follow them. They'll follow you back. That's really big. That's how I grew my Instagram at first, is a lot of Instagram fishing. It's like people that are around that don't know you're there and you don't know them, but the worst they can do is say no. No, I don't want to follow you.
Right.
Okay.
So there's a name to that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mentioned this in class on business days. And in fact, yesterday we were talking about this. And I think too many people put all their eggs in the social media basket.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very viable. And one of the things that I suggest that you do on day one, like last week on Thursday, I'm like, hey, here's a new habit. For those of you that want to do online training, this is very important. If you just want to be a one-on-one, semi-private coach in an area, like say the Gym Mesa where our school's at, then you're going to want to do grassroots efforts around there. But if you're doing online training, then here's some habits that you need to start doing today. And what I tell them is this takes you 5 minutes. Makes you feel good too, because all I say is it's the threes: 3 likes, 3 follows, 3 comments every day. It's no work at all. It takes. I used to do it all the time, and my social media grew substantially because you look at 30 days, and it's organic growth. It's organic. I'm not just randomly looking for anybody. I want somebody especially if somebody's on a weight loss journey, and I haven't liked them or followed them. I'm gonna follow, and then I'm going to say something nice because I legitimately care about their journey. I'm like, hey, you're doing great. Keep it up. That's all I'm going to say. And oftentimes what happens when somebody says something nice to you, you're like, who's this nice person? You click on their handle and you're like, oh, it's a coach. Yeah. And maybe that person could use a little extra help. You're not selling. Someone they know might want our service. Or somebody else. Yeah. But that's, I think, a great way to not only just put good out there in the air, every day, 3 times, but also, I think people that get those, I don't know about you, but on my social media, if somebody says something nice, I'm like, oh, that was really nice of them. Yeah. If it's someone you don't know, you're like, who is that? Yeah, I'm going to find out who this nice person is. Yeah. But sometimes that just one comment that day could make their day. Absolutely. And that's what we're about in the health and wellness and fitness industry. We're here to make people feel good. If I can't actually physically help you on a one-on-one or online, I just want to make sure that you're being seen. This effort is being seen. Yeah. Keep going. You can be a motivational coach, and that will definitely draw you in clients for sure. Yeah. But I mean, just if you do the math, it's 90 comments a month. Oftentimes about half the people or more are going to say, hey, thank you. That's it. Just want to know that you're being seen and that you're doing a great job. But you just think of numbers. It's like, it's 90 more people that you follow, and maybe half of them follow you back. And over time, it just grows and grows and grows and grows. Instead of just doing these mass, like, I'm going to follow this hashtag, follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even know who you're following. Reach out to those people that you think you can help and need maybe some motivation from you, because that's what we do. We're motivators as well.
Yeah. So for an example of my studio, there's a LA Fitness down the street. So I go to the LA Fitness. Whoever checks into that LA Fitness, I go on their page. I like their pictures, follow, comment if it's available, if it's not private, and because I know those people are into fitness. Yeah, they go to LA Fitness, but my business is different. It's smaller. We do just group classes. So how do I know that's not something that they might be interested in?
Right, maybe they're looking for something a little bit more intimate, or like more of a boutique studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of like the mass pandemonium that some of these big box gyms are.
Exactly.
Peak hours. That's why a lot of people don't go to some of these bigger ones. It's like, there's just too many people. There's too many tripods. There's too many people.
Oh, no, right? That's the landscape now.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So social media marketing, we know that works, but also touching on what you said with like the grassroots effort, that's where it's at. Getting out there and communicating, networking, just talking to people.
Go out there and talk to people. It's so, connections are the biggest thing. So you can go to someone local in your community. It doesn't even have to be, it could be somebody that does facials. One of your friends has works at a salon or something like that. Just go there, put your business cards there. You never know who's gonna pick it up. If you can partner with people, for instance, maybe someone does juices. You have somebody local in your community that makes fresh juices. Do an event together. Fitness, juices, they go together. Yep. You got to kind of think outside the box. That way, like, their customers know who you are, and you guys can collaborate in that way, just getting your name out there. And then if you do a lot of those, pretty soon everyone's going to know who you are and know what you do. They're going to follow you. They're going to ask, how do I find you? You're just going to make yourself known in that area, in that community.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that I think is really lost on a lot of coaches, and this is for any business, this isn't just for independent personal trainers or studio owners, but you got to network. You got to network with somebody who doesn't do what you do, but needs somebody like you. Yeah. Like in this industry as a coach, what I'm going to do, if I had to start it all over today, I no longer live in Portland, but if I was going to start today, I would go out and find a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. Find a chiropractor, talk to him, gain some trust with each other, like, hey, I like what you do. I like what you do. Let's help each other. And what you're doing is you're building that community of health, wellness, and fitness experts where if I have a client that needs a chiropractor, hey, Greg, go see him. He's down the road. Here's his card. Yeah. Same thing with him. If he has somebody that's on his table and he's adjusting them and they're like, man, I need to lose weight. I know a person. Now, the more of these connections you make and these networks you make, the less you have to advertise, because now the word of mouth is out. Now you've got all these feeders.
It's free too.
Yep. You're helping them. They're helping you. It's a trusted community, and it can go for a lot of different specialties like LMTs, licensed massage therapists. They're not coaches. Some are, but most aren't. Mm-hmm. They see a lot of people on the table that could use your help, and I'm going to send people to you because a lot of people need myofascial release and stretching. They need restore mobility and flexibility. That is something that is right in the wheelhouse of fitness and wellness. So yeah, and then you can go from an LMT to like for women, OBGYNs are fantastic. Yeah, it's a great relationship to have there as well. And the list just goes on. Find other people within the community, network with them, and help each other out, because that's what this is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so easy. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It might cost you your time if you do something collaborative, but that's it. It's so easy.
It's simple, right?
It's so
Why
simple.
don't more people do this? It's to me, it's a secret sauce. You got to get out there. Mm-hmm. Not everybody is, a lot of people are introverts. Mm-hmm. Some are extroverts. Mm-hmm. I consider myself more of an introvert. I know people disagree with that, but in my head, I like quiet. But I also like to talk. I also like to network. I didn't know that when I got in this industry 15 years ago. I'm like, so social media was kind of new. I think it wasn't like in the MySpace times when I started. It wasn't that long ago. But like Instagram was still relatively new, as I recall, and Facebook was very prevalent at that time. And was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. This feels better, though, instead of talking to people. But as I started to network and contact people, and even through like social media handles, I would just reach out. I do that now today. A lot of our guest speakers that come in to talk to our school or to our class, I've met them through social media. Like local people, I'll just, the DM. I don't know if the kids is it DM or is IM or what are the kids?
DM now.
DM.
It used to be IM.
Okay. So I get on there and I say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I own this school. I'll quickly explain what we do. I'd love to collaborate. And oftentimes I get a response. Let's do it. And let's talk about what we do. See if we can help each other. Because we're a small business. We're a school. We're a state licensed vocational school, but we're still a small business. Yeah. So, how can we help each other out within the community, get our awareness out there, get our names out there? You got to network. You got to communicate. Talk to people. If
you're not comfortable going out there in person, Facebook groups are really great. That's how we connected.
That's right. It was Facebook.
Yeah. So Facebook groups are really great to utilize. And I know this is like kind of, a lot of people don't like it, but Nextdoor app is a really good place to meet your community online. And what I like to let people know is if you don't have the funds to build yourself a website, but you still want to have that kind of SEO online presence, make a LinkedIn page because it's searchable online. So if you make a LinkedIn page and you have personal trainer in this neighborhood in Phoenix, it will come up searchable on Google. So if anybody's looking for personal trainer in Arcadia, Phoenix, let's just say, you will pop up. Your LinkedIn will pop up on that search.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So if it's a really free, simple way to get searchable online. So that's a really great place to be if you can't make a website. Obviously, if you can, that's going to help you a lot. I get a lot of traffic on my website, and I don't really even do anything on there. It's just there. And they're actually pretty affordable now. So you can get a website maybe for at least under $100 or even like under $40, depending on the type of service that you're looking for. Like, obviously, if you need a booking system embedded in it, it's going to be a little bit more. But if you're just looking for a one-page site, $20 usually. You can go on there and get it.
Yeah, there's lots of them. I remember using Wix.
Yeah, Wix is great. Squarespace, GoDaddy's really great.
Squarespace was hard. I started trying to do that, and I'm like, nope. Wix. I think I Googled in websites for dummies, and Wix was one of the top ones. I'm like, drag and drop, and it was a lot of word vomit trying to explain what I did. And I think the first page was like, 10 feet long. You kept scrolling. I didn't know what I was doing, but it's a start because you need to have a place to send people to. You're not going to explain in an Instagram post all the things you do in your services. Attention span isn't that long. I'm not going to keep scrolling. Yeah. I'm like, here's a link to find out more. Click on that landing page or website, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and the thing about social media is people go on social media to mindlessly scroll. They don't really go on there with an intention to seek out a service. Maybe sometimes some people do, but most of the times it's just like, okay, I'm bored and let's see what's going on. Or you're in bed and you're like scrolling. So if you think about other platforms like LinkedIn or your website, people are intentionally going out there to seek your service out. So those are probably way better leads if you think about it. So definitely those two things, if you can, I would recommend doing for starting out.
That's a good point. I don't think I've ever gone to Instagram looking for anything to buy. It's just like, hey, that looks interesting. Yeah. Find out more. And the next thing you know, you buy some $20 product you didn't need, but I got you. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but I can't remember ever going to Instagram or Facebook looking to purchase anything. It's usually Google. I'm going to Google or I'm going to go to Amazon. Yeah. So you think LinkedIn is still relevant? Oh, absolutely. I'm actually going through a LinkedIn course right now. So that's how I kind of it's on the top of my head right now. It's kind of these LinkedIn facts. But one interesting fact that I learned is LinkedIn has, some billion people on it. Only 4% actually post. So if you're competing with another trainer, group fitness instructor, or studio, they're probably not posting. So if you're constantly on there
putting your information out there, most likely people are going to see you over someone else. Whereas all the others, Instagram, TikTok, you're competing with, millions of people who are posting every day or putting their information out there.
Do you use TikTok at all?
I do. I'm not consistent on it as I am with Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's something that I need to work on, is building a TikTok following, especially because I'm a dance studio. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity on there.
I was just going to say, I don't dance, so I don't feel like I belong on TikTok, because that seems to be the only thing that I see when I go on there is this dance stuff and people being silly.
I've had people find me on TikTok that actually went to the studio, and I'm like, oh, how did you find us? And I saw you on TikTok. So it is, I know people can find, it's a good source for people to find things on, but I just need to get more consistent on it for sure.
Yeah. So you've got trainers that are coaching in your studio now. Here's a question I like to ask. So what makes a good personal trainer?
I think connection. I think if you can connect with somebody, listening to somebody, listening meaning like trying to figure out what it is they're really saying. Because some people don't like to communicate blatantly. They kind of like dance around an issue, or I like to listen to people and be like, okay, what are they really telling me? Or connecting with somebody, and so that they feel comfortable being around you and letting you know things and opening up to you, and it creates loyalty. So I think like listening, connecting are two things that I look for when I hire a trainer instructor, is what is their ability to connect with people.
Mm-hmm. And do they fit in with your culture?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of coaches out there. Well, a lot of people I know that have gone for interviews and they know everything that they need to know to be good in that space, but didn't get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually think it's probably because they didn't make that connection with that owner, or maybe that owner was like, I don't know if you're right for this environment. Not that you're a bad coach. It's just, you're a little bit different than the culture that we have here, and we want to keep it the same. So maybe it just comes down to your personality and not necessarily your knowledge, which in a lot of cases is with a one-on-one coach.
And as a studio owner, I've hired fresh certified people that have never taught a class before. But it's because when they demoed, I kind of just felt something or saw something that I liked. And when, I can train them to be like, okay, when you have somebody that, is new, you want to say these things, and you kind of mold them into how you want them to conduct their trainings in your studio or in your gym. And so that part, they have the knowledge, and then training, you can train them to be a better trainer, or since they're inexperienced, you already know that, but it's just not something that makes you connect with them, that you're like, okay, I'm going to give this person a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see if somebody, if you're doing group training, they have to bring the energy.
Mm-hmm.
They have to keep everybody in there motivated. So that's really important, just being able to connect with the clients and the members that are partaking in the class. So sometimes you can see that somebody's got a lot of potential. Now we just need to get them up to speed with terminology, with program design and all that sort of thing, which can take time. But if they are already somebody that people are going to connect with, then why not help them grow? And that's one of the things you do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
With business, you help people figure out how to navigate the waters, right?
Absolutely. And really quick, before I go on to that, I just want to share an example. When I opened the studio, I was doing demos, and I had two instructors. One had just got certified 2 weeks before demoing with me, had never taught a class before. And these were yoga instructors. I had another one that was a veteran yoga, done it for 10 years, had personal clients, and was wanting to get back into the group setting. So I had different expectations for both of them. So the girl that just fresh out of school had a better demo than the veteran yoga instructor. And it's because I just felt like she had like some sort of energy. She was excited. She had hopeful, like she really was eager to be there. The veteran yoga instructor, I was lost when I did her demo, honestly. She was kind of stuck in her ways. She didn't explain anything to me. And I'm a yogi, so, to not know what I'm doing in her class was a big red flag. She also had a huge community of moms that I was excited to connect with her. I was like, oh, if she starts teaching here, she's going to already have this mom group that's going to start coming here. But I just didn't feel that from her. I didn't feel like anything. So I went with the unexperienced girl, and her class was my most popular class. And now she was with me for a year. She just recently moved on to a bigger studio, which is fine with me because, I want her to grow.
Yeah.
That's the point. But I'm glad that I was able to give her that chance because she was able to teach a class somewhere consistently and get that, bigger opportunity that she wanted. So I just wanted to share that to give anybody that's, new some hope that it's okay if you're new and never taught or never trained and never had a client before.
Right.
Somebody's going to give you an opportunity.
Yeah. It's not necessarily how much you know always. Yeah. But I would guess that somebody who's teaching yoga, they're already certified, right?
Yeah.
Was it YYT?
YTT, yeah, yoga teacher training. Mm-hmm.
That's there's a 200 and then there's a 500.
There's 200. There's 500. It goes on. I don't know what past that what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can get way up there.
Yeah. We've had quite a few graduates out of our program that were already certified to teach. In fact, last term, one of my prior graduates, she was like, I think the YTT. Mm-hmm. I've been saying it wrong all along. She came in and she put everybody through a yoga flow. Nothing crazy. It was just the basics, the fundamentals, all that, and they loved it. It's more difficult than it looks. I've done it twice. My first one, my wife drugged me to a yin yoga.
Okay.
That's my first one.
Mm-hmm. That's a good first one, though.
Perfect. I was like, I can do this. I was still sweating and realizing that I wasn't moving the way that I used to.
Yeah.
But then the next one we did a week later, we did a power yoga.
Oh, yeah. Totally opposite.
I was lost. People were, contorting themselves in ways that I was desperately trying to do. Mm. Couldn't do most of those. And not only that, but I didn't know what any of this meant. Like the one that was, the lady was teaching, I'm just staring at her. And if I didn't get what she was doing, I was looking at everybody else. And I would be like 3 to 5 seconds behind everybody. I would just try to, I'm almost in this position. And then they would change it. I'm like, all right, I'll do a new one. I don't know if it was the teaching style or if it was just everybody in that class was used to, the same flow that this instructor was doing. But I was incredibly lost and incredibly sore the next few days. I had no idea how sore yoga.
Oh, yeah. I'm just getting back into it. I just had a baby, so I'm just getting back into moving. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Even the simplest stretches, I'm sore the next day.
I think it's really important for people to, dip their toes in the yoga world because it's, a lot of our movement impairments and our lack of movement is because of flexibility, mobility issues. Mm-hmm. And yoga will definitely help with that.
Yeah.
Remember I blew my back out years and years and years ago before I even got into this industry. And you never know where you're going to find information, but I used to go to my pharmacist to get some painkillers because of my back. And he would always say, hey, you should try yoga. And I'm like, dude, you're a pharmacist. And you're telling me to do yoga. Every time I got a new prescription. You doing yoga yet? No. Why are you trying to get me to do yoga? You're a pharmacist. Just give me my pills.
Yeah.
But he was right. I started doing a little bit and I started to incorporate stretching, dynamic stretching and all that stuff. And it did change things. It did help me back a lot.
See, you never know who's going to pass on that information. Yeah. You need to connect with people because you never know who they're going to be like, hey, you should do this. And then
he was a yogi. He's like, you don't have to take these pills if you just do yoga. So maybe he was right and I was just being stubborn.
Yeah.
I don't go to my auto mechanic to learn good form on a deadlift.
Right.
So information from
But a mechanic probably needs yoga.
More than likely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So you still should connect with whoever.
Yeah. Doesn't just have to be in this industry.
Yeah.
Connect with anybody and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to help you get your name out there.
Everyone's a potential client. You just never know.
Well said. You're right. Yeah. So what kind of yoga do you guys do at your studio?
We do anything from restorative yoga to like really high cardio strength yoga.
Which is that like power yoga?
It's kind of like a power yoga. We have a class. So our restorative class, nice, relaxing. Sometimes there's sound healing. All of the poses are done on your mat. You're not really standing or anything like that. It's almost kind of like a nice long stretching nap. So there's that.
I like that.
Calm music. Our lights are low. Then we have the other side of the spectrum, which is on Fridays we have this class. It's called Ignite the Class. And it's a fusion of yoga, dance, HIIT. So it's a lot of strength. There's cardio, and then you also get your flow in there too.
That sounds like fun. I've never heard anybody combining
it's
yoga
really
with other movements.
Mm-hmm. It's really nicely done. In fact, I just added it to my class schedule, and it has, a really consistent following so far. So I'm really excited to grow that class at the studio. But it's so fun. So we have pretty much something for everyone. We have a slow flow, which is a normal vinyasa flow, but it's taking a little bit more time into the poses so you can get to know them and instead of like one breath per movement where you're onto the next pose. And then we also have just our regular vinyasa class where it's one breath per movement. So you're flowing pretty quickly, nice stretching, some strength in there too. So we have something for everybody. That's what I like to offer, just a little variety for everybody.
Yeah, that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
I've never thought about using yoga with anything else.
Yeah, so when I say I have strength classes, it's actually a yoga class.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So going back to business, so you help people navigate the waters of what it is to own a business, whether you're an independent coach or you actually own like a studio.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's that look like?
So I like my niche. I like to get like right at conception of idea or right when you're about to start is kind of like where I like to help navigate the waters. Excuse me. And so I like to help people with their, how to start. Some people don't even know how to get certified.
Yeah.
Right. So I like to help people how to start their business from making a website, how to market yourself for free. It's really big when you're starting out. If you need to, now that I have a studio, if you got certified and you've never taught a class before, I like to bring in people to do free community classes in my studio so they can kind of like get their toes wet. It helps me because it's something I can offer for my community to come try for free, get more people to know where the studio is at, to know the instructor since they're usually just barely starting out at that point. I help with anything with like what booking system to use because a lot of people do Venmo and it's hard to track your clientele through Venmo. So somebody's just sending you money.
Right.
Or how many people, where did they come from? There's a lot of information missing when you do it that way. So booking system, website. I like to help people if they need a website, how to navigate through that. Because that's something that a lot of people don't even know how to start doing either that is needed. So just things like that. When I work at a studio and someone that level that already has like an established business, I kind of like to help. What can I do to help scale the business, to help kind of get it to the next level or grow? So sometimes that usually means marketing or just getting new ideas into the studio. Like what are some kind of outside the box collaborations we can do or workshops or how to get new people in here. So that's kind of like where I like to insert myself.
And you do mentorships too, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're talking about is mentorships, to bring somebody in just to to see how they work with the community, with the free events that you do, and potentially that could be an employee or something.
Oh, exactly.
That works for you, right?
Yeah. So, for instance, I have a couple of yoga instructors that were just like freshly certified. Some of them moved on already to other bigger opportunities. And that particular yoga instructor that I spoke about earlier, I paired her with a veteran yoga instructor in my studio, and they had back-to-back classes. So they were able to take each other's classes. The veteran was able to give her pointers, kind of like groom her into a better instructor. Because there's a lot of things that you don't know unless you're in it. You're not going to learn unless you're out there teaching classes. So, for instance, like how to pick up on cues if someone's lost. Like, you're not going to know that unless you're actually in it. You're like, okay, I can tell that person's struggling. I'm going to inadvertently like go help them out without pointing them out.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, I like to give somebody an opportunity and then kind of help them in whatever they need to get to the next step, basically.
Yeah, it's important. There's a lot of coaches, a lot of personal trainers, or even, people that teach yoga. They're in the same boat. Where do I begin? And a lot of people in the personal training arena, they think that they have to start at a commercial box gym, and that's fine. That's a great start because you're going to learn how to communicate. You're going to learn how to deal with people. You're going to learn what motivates people. You're going to learn how to bring your energy down or up based on the clientele in front of you. And a lot of that's just by being in front of people.
Yeah.
These are all reps that a lot of people are afraid to take.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, it's like, okay, I'm certified. Now what?
Exactly.
You go to a box gym, and again, like we were talking about before we even started, there's so many avenues you can take in the health, wellness, and fitness industry. So many avenues. And oftentimes they bring you back to the main road. But now you've got this tool to bring back to the main road to help your clients even more.
Yeah.
It's like one of the things that we do every single term is neurokinetic therapy. Is that something that most coaches know? No.
Right.
Absolutely not. It's a great, incredible skill to have to add to your arsenal of knowledge to help people further. And for those that don't know, we've talked about it on the podcast before. We even had Sky on here before, neurokinetic therapy. If you don't know what it is, look it up. Just type that into Google. It's a lot of sports teams now have an NKT certified person working alongside physical therapists and athletic training. It's a great tool to have. And that's just one of many, many, many tools to have. It's like I tell our students, if you're like a mom and you want to work with moms, then you need to get as much information out of pre and postnatal education as you possibly can to be better at what you're doing. Because if you're going to be working with pre postnatal women, you should probably know some of that stuff. So get more of that when you're done with our course.
Yeah.
If you want to work with seniors, get more of that when you graduate. You've already got a solid foundation coming out of our school, but get more of that to be better with them. There's so much information. I don't know everything, and I don't know a coach that thinks they know everything. There's so much out there. It's just finding out what moves you, the type of people that you want to work with the most, or finding your niche, however you say that. But there's just so much information out there, and I think a lot of people just get lost on where to start. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a box. It can be a studio like yours, especially since you help people, with mentorship opportunities. You help navigate those waters, because let's face it, when I graduated, I was lost. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to 24-hour fitness, and I ended up being there for 14 months, but I learned a lot.
And that's what I was just going to say. A big box gym it's okay because you're going to learn a lot, and then you can take that to move on to somewhere else. A lot of people have, that has a stigma of, it doesn't have, I had a lot of dance fitness instructors and yoga instructors that are like, oh, I don't want to go to LA Fitness because there's no community, or there's not a vibe like you're going to get at a studio. But it's a great place to start if you have zero clientele. You can meet people there. You can build a clientele there just by people who are going to be taking your service or taking your class, whatever it is that you're offering there. You can learn how they do things and take what you want. So a lot of times it's like, okay, this is how I don't want to do things. And maybe you start your own fitness business. Maybe you start your own studio, but you're going to have that experience at that big box gym that kind of gave you a little step up from everyone just right off the bat.
Yeah. It's invaluable information that you get in being in one of those.
Even scheduling, like just learning a schedule, where to schedule people, how to schedule people. I learned when I worked at some of the studios I worked at, I learned like, okay, Fridays at 6 p.m. is not a good time for a class.
Terrible. Terrible time.
You know, and I learned those little things because working there, no one would show up.
Right.
So now I don't even bother, like, you know, I'm like, I'm not having a class past 5:30 on a Friday.
Even that's too.
Yeah, it is.
I don't even know 5:30 is a good time.
So, yeah. And, you know, and when we had 6 a.m. classes at the studio and, you know, it was a small class size, and I'm like, it's okay. I would tell the instructor, don't worry that it's a small class size, because at the biggest studios, it's a small class size at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's like a HIIT gym. But like yoga, a lot of people aren't waking up at 5 a.m. to do yoga. So it's just like those little things that you learn at a huge company like that. Even if you go to an Orange Theory, that would be a great place to start, because you get to learn a lot of things.
It's quick.
You're going to learn maybe even some sales things that you can utilize in your own business if you go into business for yourself.
Which is incredibly important to know. And I think that's one of the things that you learn at a box gym, because there is a sales component. People don't know that. If you become a personal trainer and you go to a commercial box gym, you're still expected to do some sales. More so for some than others, but I think, you know, I wish there was more 24-hour fitness models out there, because I learned a tremendous amount about business while I was in there. I also learned a tremendous amount of business while I was in National Personal Training Institute in Portland. But I learned even more when I got out about like scheduling, about how to sell. I mean, that's a big sticking point for a lot of people. You know, how do I sell? Well, do you feel confident? No, you're not ready to sell then. Yeah. You got to be confident in what you're saying, and confident in yourself to ask for somebody to buy into your product, which is helping them with their health, wellness, and fitness. And that's for a lot of people terrifying. Okay, I've told you what I could do for you. Now, do you want to buy my service? You know,
exactly.
Instead of like, hey, you know, I think I can help you. These are my hours that I have available right now, and this is how much they cost. Just being confident.
And overcoming objections is like a huge lesson you will learn by going to a big company. Is they drill you on overcoming objections. And it's uncomfortable. It sucks to learn. It's, you know, if they make you role play, that sucks. But it's so beneficial for you if you're going to go into business for yourself, because people are going to say no to you, and you want to convince them, no, you need this.
Like with any product.
Yeah.
You are the product in this case. You are the coach. You are the professional. They're there in front of you because they want to help. Are you the right person? That's what it comes down to. We do this a little bit in class. We talk about sales, how to overcome objections. And, you know, I tell, hey, people are going to say no. Just get used to it. Anybody who sells anything, people say no to. But now you're the product. I know it feels different. When I was a Coca-Cola sales rep, that stuff sold itself. I can go anywhere and say, hey, we got this new stuff called Vanilla Coke. How many cases do you want? And I was confident they would say yes, because they know it's going to sell. People know the brand Coca-Cola. Yeah. You don't have to explain to them what it is. Like, you have to explain yourself to them and what you can do to help them with their goals and whatever else they put out in front of you that they need help with. You are the product. You have to be confident with the product. And I think one of the things that happens with a lot of new coaches that just get certified online, and there's tons of certifications, is they haven't applied any of this information. Exactly. And that's why we exist, is because how can you be good if you haven't applied this? You don't really learn anatomy from books. You need to know anatomy very well to be a good coach. Yeah. You need to know nutrition. Now, anybody can read that out of a book. But when it comes to like program design, you need to know the whys and the hows. You need to do it yourself, so you know how this feels for this person, if it's corrective or if it's somebody that needs muscular endurance or whatever. You need to know how that feels and what kind of stuff falls into that place to help this person with that. Technique. You have to know technique. You need to know business, like we're talking about right now. You just need to get the reps in. And there's a lot of tools that we offer, or everybody gets when they go through our course as well, that you don't get through books, like kettlebell certs, suspension certs, PNF, stretching certs, you name it. There's a ton. There's lots and lots of layers with the school. But I think the more confident you are, the better you're going to succeed in business as a whole, because you feel confident about yourself. So I think a lot of coaches that are just out there like, okay, I got this piece of paper, 70% or better on my exam. Now I'm good. You've got to have incredible imposter syndrome at that point. And the way to get over that is to find a mentor that's going to help you with these other missing components that you didn't get reading a book, and continue to get that knowledge so you can move up with confidence and you become a better coach because of it.
Yeah, and you have no feedback when you do it online by yourself. So how do you know what you're doing is correct just from you answered the correct answer, but like, do you really know how to apply it on real life situations? So that's where I think someplace like your school gives somebody a leg up on everybody else, because you actually have that hands-on training. And I would rather hire somebody that has that sort of training than, took a test online.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be more work for me.
Right.
They're going to be like, okay, did you ask the client questions? Like, have they ever moved before, or what kind of exercise do they do now? Because if you didn't, then you're just throwing them into a workout, and they could be, they could have potential injury. They could have be lost and not come back because they feel out of place. That's a huge thing for me. I get so upset if, someone's like, I felt uncomfortable, I don't want to come back. That's like the worst thing.
Yeah.
So, and it's just simple things that you learn hands-on that you can't learn from a book or from taking a test online or watching a video online. So exactly, like, I just think that somebody going through your program I would hire them over somebody else that did something online.
Yeah, and I think we're finding that this is how it was in Portland. Everybody knew that school existed, and they knew the quality that came out of there, and that's beginning to happen here. So, you reached out, and I'm like, yes, I want to send out a newsletter to all our graduates to introduce them to you. It's a studio, box gym. Some people don't want to go to a box gym, and they'd like to have an opportunity with somebody like you that can help mentor them and get them up to speed and put them in a position that they actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying box gyms are bad. There is some pros and cons. Some of the cons are, it doesn't feel like a community.
Exactly.
Oftentimes your management is a revolving door, much like trainers are. So you get that negative thought on what it is to be a coach anywhere else. You just think this is how it's going to be everywhere I go. And it's not. It's just a good stepping stone. It's a place for you to, learn how to teach instead of absorb information, no matter how you get it from an online book or our school. You have to now learn how to teach, because you've spent this time absorbing. Now, how do I teach it? Because that's what we're doing with our clients. We're doing our clients a disservice if we're not educating them as to why we're doing what we're doing with them. Because what I tell my clients when I was an independent coach, I tell them, hey, look, what I want to do is educate you so that you don't have to stay with me. I want you to be able to do this on your own.
That's exactly how I feel as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's really gratifying to see somebody like, okay, they grew out of me and they're on to the next.
Yeah.
The next. But it's because I helped them get to that point.
Yeah. I want you to fire me. I'm okay with that. I want you to be self-sustainable. I want you to be able to do this on your own and not rely on a coach. I think that's when people hear that, it often puts their guard down. It's like, he's not going to expect me to be with him for years, in which case that happens. We had this discussion yesterday. One of our students said that she did a shadow. All of our students have to shadow people because you want to see how other people teach and communicate. You'll take good nuggets away from that you can apply to your own practice and how you communicate and all that stuff. And she said that one of the clients that she was shadowing had been with her for like 8 years. I'm like, that's not uncommon. I had clients when I started my independent practice in Portland till I moved down here. It was about 10 years. I had clients from 24 that I brought to the studio. So I've had, there's a couple clients I had for like 12, 13 years. And I'm like, why are you still with me? I've taught you everything I know, and it comes down to that relationship, that bond that you created with them.
Exactly.
It also comes down to, I don't want to program for myself. I want you to do it. I don't want to think about what to do. You know what I need, and they know, they trust that you're going to do the stuff that they need to continue to progress.
Yeah.
And it's not about always what you know, it's who you are, is what I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And when I decided to jump ship from 24 to my own practice, literally almost everybody followed me. It was like 42 people, and it's a big number. And that's why I think that going to a commercial, and I know this is part of the industry. If you go to a box gym and you decide to go independent, it's just how it is. They're not staying there because there's towel service. They're following you because of who you are. They don't want another trainer. Mm-hmm. And, you want to have integrity when it comes to making that move. You're not going to say, hey, follow me and I'll undercut what this gym's doing.
There's some best practices that you need to follow.
This is how it happens. If you're a coach in a box gym, you're like, I'm going to go independent. You're not going to tell everybody, hey, follow me. What you're going to say, what I did that worked is like, hey, I want to let you know in about a month I'm moving down the road about 2 miles.
Yeah.
Can I follow you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Instead of, just screaming out on the floor, who wants to follow me? I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It's just the way the industry is. And these big employers, they know this. That's why they got some safeguards in there for, their coaches moving on. They're afraid they're going to take clients. Well, they form that bond. They don't want another coach. They're going to follow them. That's just how the industry is. I know some people have some negative thoughts on that. That's how it is. That's how it is with really any industry.
And what something that I tell people that I'm mentoring is there's business for everybody. So don't feel like, someone you're working with, they don't follow you or they go somewhere else. It's okay. That's part of the process. That it happens. It's someone else is going to follow you over someone else. Like, just be authentic, be you. The people who are going to follow you are supposed to be there. So don't waste your time worrying about what's going on over here or what someone is doing, or just worry about yourself and your business. If you're authentic to yourself, genuine, your community is going to follow you, or they're going to stick with you. So, I always say there's business for everybody. So don't try to steal someone else's business. It's not good. No. Karma.
No.
If someone's trying to steal your business, like, they won't follow you if you're authentic and the person wants to be there. If they don't want to be there, they need to move on as a client. So.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So that's I think a big lesson to be learned too is just be authentic, and the people who are going to want you are supposed to be there.
Yeah. Takes a lot of energy to be somebody you're not. Just be you. Even on social media, just be you.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're talking about education and all that, one of the things that I think, going back to like social media, that I think is missing, that I think people should know that are coaches, is there are millions of videos of people doing workouts with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my pet peeves. If you're going to post, educate. If you want to be a trusted source, you want people to come to you for education, then you need to educate. Otherwise, just doing these videos, hey, I'm doing a back squat today. Why? What are your goals?
Yeah.
Oh, here's my client doing lunges today. Why?
Yeah. We're like they're doing a workout and it's just an overlay of a motivational speech. But to me, because my feed's full of fitness, obviously, the things that like stand out to me is I'm like, wait a minute, I did not know that. Mm-hmm. I did not know that until I was today years old when I saw that. Or a workout where I'm like, that's so interesting. So it's just thought-provoking.
Right.
And it's not anything fancy. It's just information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just put correct information out there, someone's going to be like, wow, I never knew that. And then they're going to follow you.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be a trusted source.
Right.
I've just the other day I followed 2 accounts because I saw one video come across my Explore page, and it was a stretch for cyclists. I'm not a cyclist. I don't know anybody yet that's a cyclist, but I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I'm going to put that in my bank just in case I know somebody who needs a stretch that's a cyclist. And then I started following her.
I've got probably, if I looked at my phone right now, I probably have 50 saved videos in the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
If I see something that's new and different or something I didn't think about, that is cool. I wonder if this would be good to apply to the stretching component of our class. It's something I didn't think about doing for this. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll bring that into the educational part of what we do at our school. So, yeah. And not only that, but things for myself too. I'm like, I know my hip flexors are really tight. That's a new stretch. And just when you think you've seen it all, you haven't. There's so much more out there to learn. Yeah. And I love learning. I love seeing new things and making that rational decision in your head. Is this applicable? Is this something that is safe? Is this something that could help? What are the reasons for this? And if I come to the conclusion like that is awesome, it's good, I'm saving it, and I'm at some point going back to it again. I look through there every once in a while. I'm like, I forgot to save this video. It's cool. Yeah. That's why I save that. Yeah. So I love that feature.
Or like, do this, not this.
Yeah.
And you're like, mind blowing, because I was doing that wrong the whole time.
Yeah. What's amazing is like, even in this current term that we've got right now, there's a couple students that I explained to them back squats and we already talked about like six of the muscles of the core, and they didn't realize, most people don't realize there's that many core muscles. A lot of people think there's just the rectus abdominis, and there's not the opposite pair, the erector spinae muscles, and they don't know that they have those muscles. And I'm like, well, when we're doing back squats, we want to keep a neutral spine position, and this is the muscle that's helping you do that. Do you think you're strengthening up this muscle with what you're doing right now? And most people are like, no, I'm not doing any back extensions. You should be doing those. We move in all 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
Where everything works together in unison, in a tandem, and helps each other out. So if we're athletes, which we all are, so it's to varying degrees. If we're moving and we're breathing, we're an athlete. Just to what degree are we? But we still need to move in all 3 planes of motion. We need to know how to fix these imbalances. We need to know that this muscle's important. If you're sitting all day, these muscles aren't working. And then you expect to perform in the gym, and you wonder why you're hurting. It's because, well, anatomy is important. That's why. So, yeah, it's cool to see the light bulbs go on as we go through the course each term, and they're like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know we had these muscles, or I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Yeah. Or I've had these injuries forever by doing this. I'm like, well, stop doing that and do the opposite thing. Like if you're sitting all day, you got to unwind. Do some extensions. Just to take 5 minutes on the ground and do some back extensions, some Supermans or some whatever that's going to be doing the opposite of what we're doing right now in a flex position. Get your body in an extended position. It needs that because you're not doing it. Now you're more likely to get injured when you go in the gym. So it's cool because a lot of people get their information on YouTube. But
right.
Or back in my day, bodybuilding.com or something like that. Plans. Yeah, this plan worked for this person. Well, for that person, it did.
Yeah.
Or did it? That person says they did this program. Now they're selling it. Did they? Did that program make them look like that, or did something else make them look like that? They genetically gifted, or is there something else out there that they're doing that's making them look like that?
Right. So, yeah. Never know.
But anyway, that's the industry. Well, I think we've said it all.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on, sharing with what you do with Studio Scottsdale.
Studio Scottsdale Fitness.
I almost said it right. Studio Scottsdale
got
Fitness. Where's it located?
So we're in South Scottsdale, 68th Street in McDowell. We're really close to, obviously, Scottsdale, Tempe, Arcadia, Phoenix, accessible from like the 51. So we're really in a nice hub.
That's a convenient location. Yeah. How can people find you?
So you can go to my website, which is studioscottsdalefitness.com. Social media channels at Studio Scottsdale Fitness, and my personal page at Miss Rena for all social media channels as well. And connect with me on LinkedIn too. Don't forget LinkedIn, guys.
I did. I'm on there, but I forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
If anybody wants to connect with Rena, please do so. If you didn't catch what we just said or what she just said about her handles, it'll be in the bio. So check it out. Contact her if you're a coach looking for a space or looking for some guidance. Feel free to contact Rena. She's open.
Yeah.
So,
even if it's a referral to some place where you can start, I'm happy to help.
Awesome. That's what we should be doing. So,
yeah.
Well, it's been fun.
Yes, it's been
Look forward to communicating with you going forward, and it's been great. Fun conversation.
Yes.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.